Welcome to Bourbon Tasteoffs, playoff brackets of the best whiskeys. Join us in our season-long quest to find our tastiest bourbon. And here are the playoff brackets of the best whiskeys. They include the first quarter, the first 3 months are done, in the books. Here is a list of what is advanced. We are currently recording the second quarter. Please listen into the episodes and follow along and join us in this journey. Hello, welcome to Bourbon Tasteoffs. This is episode number 31. This is a monthly winner episode, so every option that we're going to be tasting has already beat its episode winner. I'm one of your hosts, Todd.
I'm Becca.
And I'm Adam.
We're here to show you a good time. That was cheesy as hell, but it's going to stay in here.
I like it.
So we're going to taste these episode winners and come up with a monthly winner. And after this episode, we're going to actually have a quarterly winner. Ooh. So you guys were part of the previous quarterly winner. And I'm not going to sit here and say what it was. You're going to have to watch it to find out.
Yes.
But this is exciting because even the monthly winners are exciting. You know, like the episode winners sometimes go against some fantastic options. And then when you come down to a monthly winner, it's like the best of the best. Essentially.
It's really difficult to pick.
Yeah.
It is. Especially because I know over the last month, we've had some extremely tasty pours.
We have.
It's been very difficult even through each section to get to here. So it'll be fun to see how each one of those delicious weeks have held up to each other.
It will. Yes. Hopefully we still have that palate to find out that it's still on par with what we experienced when we had the episode.
So on that note, number one is going against what?
1 against 4.
Hey.
Very good. It's an easy little crossover.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So in this episode, glass 1 is the Double Oak Peerless Rye Whiskey. And in glass 2 is the Old Elk Cigar Cut Whiskey. And in glass 3 is the Heaven's Door 10-Year Whiskey. And in glass 4 is the Duke Bourbon Whiskey. This first one looks dark as hell. Holy cow.
Right out the gate, I got I hate to say it, but acetone, and then it kind of mellowed. You're
not starting until we cheers.
Cheers.
Here we go. All right. Take over, Becca. You got it.
No, I got acetone, and then it kind of mellowed out to a floral.
And you're going off the nose?
Yeah, off the nose.
So you would say it's definitely smells proof plus, because it smells proof plus to me, for sure.
Yeah. Now, when you say acetone, is that like a ethanol thing? Is that like a high proof nosing?
Acetone is like a paint thinner, like a nail polish.
And you're getting that off this?
I'm just saying it was super real.
Oh, I suppose I can see that now. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, alcohol smell forward for sure.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. When I first smelled it, I didn't get it, but maybe I was a little further off the glass. We did an episode, Becca, when you weren't here, and I read how to taste bourbon. It was let the bourbon come to you. And so now I'm actually staying a little bit further away and letting it come to me. But
who was with us on that episode?
Joe,
and it was fun to watch him do that since he's never done it that way before.
It was.
And watching him start to pick out different smells and different stuff through everything else was really cool.
It was cool.
Especially because his favorite thing in the world is SoCo. So to get to a point where he's drinking bourbon and enjoying just finding the different smells out of it's pretty awesome.
That's a great point. You're right. Because one of the first episodes, he was my go-to is SoCo.
Yeah.
You're that was hilarious.
Do either of you get a floral nose?
No, I'm getting the thing that we do find out with tasting all these in previous episodes is we kind of remember the color, we kind of remember the nose notes, we kind of remember the taste notes, and so it's I'm reminded of a breading on this, so when I really stick my nose in there, I definitely get that acetone, which I wish I didn't, because I didn't get it before. But you really have to stick your nose in there to get it, though. If you let it waft
Yeah, I'm getting really leathery on the palate too.
Yeah.
You know, and again, that's like when you have a leather car seats and your doors are closed all day and you hop into it and then you go and like, I have leather seats. Yeah, that's the smell. I'm getting a lot of that flavor profile wise.
I am too.
Yeah, and it's dry. Like we were talking recently on an episode, it was like, that's more of like a wetter kind of finish on it, and this one's definitely a drier finish on it.
It's got a nice, lengthy finish.
It's lengthy. You're right. Yeah, and I would venture to guess to say this is a little positive
plus proof. Yeah,
plus proof. Yeah. Again, I love monthly winter episodes.
Right.
It's like you really are not tasting anything really bad.
No.
You know,
I am getting a little bit of the floral
Okay.
out of it. I can't think of what specific flowers it is.
Is it the nose or the
on the nose?
Oh, okay. I do. When you were saying floral, I'm like, I'm kind of getting some off the taste too, which I don't know if you're not.
You eat flowers?
Do you eat grass?
Nobody drinks tea, and that counts.
Oh, okay.
Because you mentioned grass on a
I have
previous
some
episode.
grass. Yes.
I can picture tasting flowers, petals. I guess I don't know. But in this case, it's actually pleasant.
Mm-hmm. No, for definitely.
Yeah.
It's not super charry. It's got a little bit of that barrel char in it, but nothing super crazy.
Right. No, I agree.
Just a little cinnamon zest.
Zesty.
Maybe even some orange.
There, maybe that is like there's a little maybe a little bit of a citrus like tang to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like like an orange zest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's very good.
You said not very good, or
Oh, it is very good.
Yes.
yes?
This is one of those ones that I would get yelled at for probably putting in a cocktail because I think
Yes.
that would be super tasty in a cocktail.
Probably.
Yeah.
And again, if you've got disposable income,
You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
A bourbon sidecar.
One of the cocktails that we and her both enjoy is a classic sidecar. They're very tasty, and you can make them traditionally. They're with cognac, but we've had a couple of times where we've had them with bourbon, and it's tastes totally different than a traditional cognac sidecar. But they're very, very tasty, and your base spirit is so important on that because it really enhances all those different orangey, cinnamony, spicy flavors.
I bet.
And if it's not one that has those in it, it really fights that cocktail hard. So you don't want to do those things.
Okay, I don't even know what a boxcar is as far as
Sidecar.
a mixture. Oh, sidecar. See, I don't even know the name of it.
Yeah.
Cognac, orange liqueur.
Is that typically what it is then?
Cognac,
Okay,
orange
cognac.
liqueur.
Contro.
Well, that's what the orange liqueur would
Yeah.
be. Is it lemon
Lemon.
and sugar?
Yep. Sugared rim, not in the cocktail. It should be like pretty much all base spirit and then a sugared rim.
Yep. So instead of adding simple to the cocktail, you just get it by sipping the glass.
Sounds
with
very
sugared rim.
citrusy, very fruity.
It's
It is.
not as citrusy as you'd think.
Okay.
Because it's kind of, it's very well rounded and like warm, but not like hot.
Oh,
So it's a good all year cocktail. You know what? Next time,
I can't wait to try it.
once you come over,
I know.
we can have you some.
I know.
So 4 has a lower proof than 1.
I would say
I would agree. Yep.
it's a little more malty or like it's not as like big on the grain profile. You know, more of a mild grain profile on this one than the other one.
It's not big in general. It doesn't like really flood your mouth. The finish is not as strong.
Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of oak or any kind of char on it.
Yeah, like-
However, it is sweet. It is tasty.
It's smooth. It would be
Yeah.
dangerous how quickly you would keep
Yeah.
sipping it.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that we were talking before. Is like, oh, you know, if it has a nice long finish, you can kind of like take a sip and enjoy it, and
Hang
then
out and wait.
hang out, wait, and then have another sip, and then. But this one, you kind of like, it's got to keep drinking it.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's tasty. And then it disappears.
And
Oh,
like,
I got to
that's
taste
tasty.
it again.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's where you get the dangerous. However, it's probably proof negative, so you can afford a couple more tastings
Right.
of it, you know?
Right.
So I can see people that haven't been into bourbon a long time enjoying this maybe more than one.
Yeah.
You know, based on, okay, it's not killing me every time I
Right.
take a sip, you know?
Yeah.
So there's some definitely good sweet notes to it.
Well, we've talked about summer bourbons and winter bourbons, and this
Yes.
would fall under a summer bourbon.
I
in my
agree.
opinion.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right.
Yep.
And I think some of these episodes we shot was like 90 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like you mentioned, Becca, we're kind of slowly getting into the crispier air of fall, which is nice. And so I'm sure a lot of the warmer spirits are gonna like
start
drawing us.
And see, I get really excited when we start getting like, super charry, super oaky, which is all my Texas happy stuff that I like. And I'm like, ooh.
Me too. But I even enjoy it in the summer, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like
for sure.
It's just so.
It's like it's my warm spot.
When
Right?
I talk about fall cocktails, there's one called the Sweater on the Inside.
Oh yeah, that one's super
That's
tasty.
got blackstrap bitters from Sugar
Bear
Cube or Bitter Cube in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and it's super tasty. It's one of the egg white cocktails.
I bought egg white to actually make a cocktail. I saw it on the news the other day, and I'm like, I'm buying some egg yolk or egg white.
Yes,
and we're gonna make this.
Yeah.
I haven't yet, but I'm going to.
Super good.
You need to do it.
I know.
And if like anyone watching doesn't want to have egg whites in it, you can either do aquafaba, which is fava bean water, like the stuff in the can, non-salted. Get the salted, it's horrible. Otherwise, you don't necessarily need it. It's a textural thing. But yeah, like the egg whites really makes it super silky, super.
Is it called the
creamy.
Hannibal Lecter?
No. Maybe.
Just because of the fava bean.
I know. You know what? That'd be a great Halloween cocktail we should come up with.
Right?
Hannibal Lecter. It'd be an egg white cocktail.
That'd be awesome.
Framboise, so it's red. You know, you could totally come up with a good one. Yeah. Raspberry. Yeah. Oh my God, I have a good thought on that actually. Thanks.
Good. Absolutely. I'm here to help.
Yes.
And you guys are here to help me, so I appreciate it.
Well, I have a choice. Does anyone else have a choice?
I do have a pick.
Okay. I pick number 1.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, if anybody disagrees, now's the time to mention it, so we can have a tiebreaker
argument. No, I picked 1 as well because I do like that.
Proof Plus.
Proof Plus.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was complex. It had a nice, strong, long finish. I got the floral notes. It was leathery. It was more dry. Like number 4, I pretty much only wrote down that it was lower proof. It was smooth and it was sweet. I didn't get anything that stuck out at me.
And the fact that I said, if you disagree, now's the time to speak, tells you that I also agree that I'm picking number 1, because otherwise I would have gone right away and said, I picked 4.
You know the crazy
But since
thing?
I didn't, I picked 1, and 1 is going to be the winner of this match-off, so...
Woo! The crazy thing about 4 is when I'm smelling it, I smell men's cologne, and it kind of weirds me out.
Okay, I'm not alone in that.
Who's men's cologne?
Like you know, like when you
Smells like a man, like one of those like Aqua de Joe's, the fresh colognes.
Right.
Colognes that are designed to smell like you're fresh and you're clean. And
I can't wait to see this bottle. Can you imagine if it's like the Duke? Like Duke should smell like a man's cologne.
Oh my God, right? Like if John Wayne
smells
like men's cologne,
stepped into a bottle of bourbon.
Of course.
It smells like that.
But you know what? We're talking like those
are
summer
you getting that 2 out of 4 though?
Men's clones. Not the big sandalwood oaky,
Get a little bit
more like
I suppose
fresh.
I'm not very...
Get like up top here.
He's not smelling men very often.
Thank you. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
You never
That is what I'm trying to say.
You don't wear cologne? Like
I don't.
Oh, yeah. I only wear what she buys me, so.
I'm a pit stick kind of guy, and that's it. You're right. The 4 does have a different type of smell to it. Yeah.
That you're not really a fan of.
That I'm not really a fan of.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over because we picked number 1
Yes.
for that one. So we will go over to 2 and 3. So we're going to nose number 2.
It is pretty crazy though that I've tried all 4 of these, or at least 3 of them, and I can't figure out which any of these are.
Isn't that interesting?
It's super weird.
I know. I think the very first monthly winner, I was able to do it successfully, and then ever since.
What was the first winner?
The first monthly winner was the Red Cabin.
Okay.
Because it was a Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You did the Wisconsin.
It was a Wisconsin. Well, the first episode Wisconsin winner was the Red Cabin, and then the monthly winner for that. Actually, maybe it wasn't the monthly winner. Now I'm gonna be like, I don't know. The first playoff brackets that were printed.
Gotcha.
On these episodes, you can check them out and see what they were. And
you will try 192 in a year, but now that you're halfway through, you're at 96.
Correct.
Which is exciting.
That is exciting.
Well, and it's incredible that you can go through that many different bourbons, whiskeys, ryes.
Well, that's why it's
different mash
so
bills,
important to
and
try different places.
It is.
And don't even judge the outside of a store by its cover because
No.
you have no idea what they have in there. And you might just walk in and smile and be like, thank you. And you walk right out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth a stop if you're driving past, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, this has been such a fun journey, and it's like 96 bottles in. Then basically is what you're saying. We're like 96 bottles in, and we've tasted so many good stuff.
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff.
And the crazy
96
stuff is like when we first did an episode with you guys, there was an episode that we did pretty early on that was like the Buffalo Trace one, right? It
Yeah,
was
with
like
Dan. Dan's party.
Yep. And then it was like what Buffalo Trace versus non-Buffalo Trace items of similar stature, right? And after going like through everything, it's like Buffalo Trace gets a lot of well-earned acclaim, right? They do a great job, but there's so many other ones that don't be afraid to try different things and go through and try to like branch off and try some of the smaller distilleries or some of the off runs. Like I picked up a bottle today that I didn't know was from a different distillery that I know and like. So like it was kind of fun that way.
And what was that?
The Pinhurst.
Oh, the Pinhook.
Pinhook. Yeah, it was from Castle and Key, and I was, their story is amazing, and like their facility is absolutely gorgeous. But like to get to somewhere where it's like I didn't know they were making stuff for other people too, so it was kind of cool.
Wow, I just tasted number 2. It is so sweet.
It is mild. It's cleaner, but it's got a nice zesty finish. So on the nose and on the tongue, I feel like it's real mid-proof, but the finish holds on for me.
On number 2, I am getting that eucalyptusy floral green fruit on the nose. And then a lot of baking spice, and like I definitely feel like it's proof plus on the palate.
It does taste like that, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was getting that ting too, like that tingle on my lips and back tongue, and it's like it does seem like a plus proof.
Yeah. Well, and like, you know, just like we say all the time, it's like your environment that you're drinking in, right, is going to change the way things taste, right? Like now we've tasted a few different things and we've been through other stuff before, you know, everything else. So like, it's not like it's like, oh, first crack of the day, sipping something fresh, like something neutral proof will taste really plus proof if you just brush your teeth.
Yeah.
You know, and like we're past that. We're into like, hey, we're settled in. So now you can start getting more of those sweet, relaxed, mellow notes pulling out of stuff.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. I'm getting, for some reason, I'm getting like a metallic taste. And I these are monthly winners. I mean, these are episode winners that become potentially a monthly winner.
Does that metallic taste stay with you? Because I get it, but it's real quick.
It is very quick.
Spice.
You are right.
I'm getting it as like those baking spices.
Okay. Maybe that's what it is.
That's why I asked how long he got it.
Yeah.
It builds into that baking spice for me.
Almost like a zest of like a grapefruit or something that kind of hangs out in your palate for a minute.
I'm super curious what episode this was in, you know?
It's
just
weird.
like
The mouthfeel for me is mild, but the finish is zesty. It's high proof.
I feel like
Strong.
it's like proof plus. Like it's got
Right.
like it's like, you know, plus proof. It's got to be somewhere.
It's building
somewhere
for me,
like
though.
100.
Yeah, it's not super weak.
It's like 105.
It's not weak. Yeah.
Like I don't think it's like 115, 120. Like it doesn't drink that way.
Yeah, for sure.
And we did have an episode recently where that was the case, where it didn't taste like it was as heavy as, like as high as ABV as it was. And we've definitely had other stuff that's tasted like, ooh, this is higher. This got to be high, like higher proof, and it's not.
You're right.
So it gets a little tricky, and that comes with like age and environment and all those other variables. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
3, I'm getting a little funk off of the nose. When I mean funk, it's just like that, like weird kind of. I don't know. It's like a funk. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I do.
It's hard to explain.
Like this one, you can actually put your nose in the whole glass, and it's not going to burn your nose out.
Right.
Like it's actually. I mean, I'm not picking up florals or things like that, so maybe that's why you're saying more of a funk, but it's not. It's not like off-putting.
No. Like I said, I've said in the past before, is like a rum thing is a lot of times like a funk because it comes from like the way the barrels are and everything else like that. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to pick a nose out of this one, and my guess is because my nose is blasted from nosing so many things.
Exactly.
This one's real nice and sweet, though.
It is very sweet.
Yeah, this one.
It's a little smoky.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, to me, it's very good.
Yeah.
And I hate, sometimes it's like when doing this podcast and stuff, you want to say what you're experiencing, but then you hold back because you don't want to influence the other people. So there's a little bit of a challenge with that where it's like, I want to tell the viewers exactly what I'm experiencing,
right?
But I don't want to do it right now because I don't want you guys to be influenced by what I'm saying. Because I really do want this to be an organic, whatever we pick is going to win, kind of thing.
You've been to Kentucky.
Yes.
You've done tastings and tours.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do Woodford Reserve?
I did not do a tasting at Woodford.
So the wildest thing about Woodford Reserve, and I think we brought this up in the past, is they give you this little wheel that tells you, it kind of gives you a clue to your nose and your tongue of what you should be getting out of it.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah,
which is actually helpful.
Coasters. Yeah.
It was helpful because it's like, oh yeah.
They said on average was 140 or 170 some different things
There
that people
was
could pull out of it. So usually I'm getting bubble gum. And then you're like, well, I don't taste that at all. And then other times it's like, well, just because you're not getting it doesn't mean it's not there for somebody else.
Right.
Which just really shows the complexity and versatility of whiskey and bourbon in general. It's, it's pretty crazy that way. So that tasting specifically was our tour guide or the guy who's guiding us through a tasting did a very good job of pairing it with stuff. They had different snacks and everything else. So it was okay, now eat this. Now let that take a swallow. All right, now just go right into why the oils are still in your mouth in order to pull out these different flavors. And it was really a good experience. And that's definitely on our to take a tour of next time we go down there.
And I have heard that though, that Woodford Reserve is the 141 flavors or whatever that you can pick out. But I would venture a guess that you could do that for a lot of different bourbons.
You could, but it's kind of fun for them to kind of walk your nose through it.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I don't think you're hurting anybody by telling the viewers what you're tasting.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay. But I also don't want to bias it.
Right,
No.
Where
right.
it's
I have
that's
one
what
picked
you
already.
get.
the master taster Todd is picking this as a flavor. We have to agree with them.
Whatever Todd says. Yes, Todd is correct.
Master taster.
Well, obviously I'm making a joke of it, but you know what I mean.
Yes,
I don't want to
No, you don't want to sway anybody.
Right.
And I get that. But sometimes it's nice to have someone oh, do you have are you getting mesquite or are you getting, leather or
That is a great
fresh
point.
cut grass? And then someone goes oh yeah, I am. You know what? Actually, and sometimes that's beneficial and sometimes it's, harmful to a tasting experience.
Right. Because it's no, I don't get any of that. So why are you even mentioning it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you're right. It's nice to hear when people have some unique tasting profiles and you didn't get it when you first tasted it, but then when you do again after they say it, it's neat to get it because it's oh my gosh, I get it now. Where you were it was some obscure taste in the background, and until someone mentions it, it doesn't stand out.
Yeah.
So it is neat, you're right, to have that.
I know there's a couple other, some of the stuff I watch on some of the other YouTube guys, they'll say, oh, I'm getting a bazooka bubble gum or a bubble yum flavor out of some of the different bourbons. And I'm I'm not getting that at all. And then, all of a sudden you could really trying to find it. And then you're okay, and then that kind of helps you figure out where they're coming from on their tastings. If someone's oh, they're always getting I get a lot of green fruits, red fruits, kind of currants and stuff because we started learning how to do tastings through wine, so that's where my brain goes first. So you start figuring okay, well that's where they're coming from, and this is where he's coming from, or this is where she's coming from, and it gets you to the point where you're all right, cool. Well, I know when that person says oh, it tastes like currant, right? I don't like that flavor,
sure.
Right? Or it's when they say leather, I really like that flavor, so I know that one I'll like. And that's just why you got to kind of pay attention to everybody and listen to as much input as you can.
I agree. There's been situations where I've listened to podcasts and people have tasted certain things, and then I will go by what they were talking about and I'll re-listen to it, and I will actually be tasting it while they're talking about it again. and I'll see, am I getting what they're talking about?
Yeah.
You know, and that's why in previous episodes I've finished with saying, so if you have any of these bourbons and you want to taste this along with us, it's almost like an invitation to re-watch the episode and taste it while we're doing it, you know?
Well, and then if anyone has any of these, I've tried any of these ones before, and they want to do any comments about tasting profiles or smelling profiles in the comments, like that'd be great. You know,
exactly.
We can grow and build off of that too. You know,
100% agree. Yeah. So what are we getting off of 2 and 3? Are we picking yet?
I have mine picked.
I think I have mine picked as well.
You know, like I said, like number 2 is like I got like green fruit floral, a little bit of eucalyptus, some of the baking spice. It feels like it's a little bit of plus proof. You know, going through that stuff. And then number 3 is it's sweet, a little bit smoky, a little more savory of a bourbon. It's got a little bit longer finish. I also think that one's definitely probably a plus proof. I don't know if it's going to be a little bit younger, but it might be more of a blend.
Sure.
You know?
That's a good guess.
Yeah, no kidding. I think you're right on with that, Adam. You're like a professional now.
No, I just drink a lot.
Which would classify as a professional.
Nobody pays him.
Yeah, no one pays me.
I know.
It's a pay-to-play event.
But again, would you rather have someone that has very little experience or someone with a lot of experience?
Yes, a lot of experience.
A lot of experience kind of tells you more.
Yes. I'm just happy when I don't trip on my words.
Right.
It usually helps. I'm like, oh, it's the thing with the stuff.
The thing with the thing and the
you know, the
other
guy
thing.
from the road, from the street, you know, like by the sign.
You know what I'm talking about. Come on.
Yeah.
So you chose 3?
I did choose 3.
Okay.
What'd you pick, babe?
Oh. I thought I was going last.
Oh, you can.
You went last time.
I
You're
will
not
go
doing it
now.
last
I will
time.
go now. So I was impressed with 2. I really enjoyed 2. I went to 3 and I was like, I like this. And then I went back to 2 and then back to 3. And by putting them side by side back and forth, 3 was my winner for me.
Ooh.
Which surprised me because 2 really excited me out the gate.
Because they are.
I love hearing that because
winners, though.
they're winners of winners,
Yes.
and it impressed you. And I also enjoy that you went first because I was going to agree with Adam that I do pick 3 because I think it's delicious.
It'd be cool to see what 4 and 2 are.
It would be very cool to see. You know what we can do to make that happen?
We can see them.
We can see them.
Awesome.
So we're back.
Yep.
And the one that lost against number 1 was number 4. And
Duke.
that's the Duke. That's the
The one that smelled like dude's cologne.
cologne.
Yeah.
It was.
You called it out.
You did
John
call
Wayne.
it. Yeah.
Nice.
So that is a lower proof.
Yes.
It's still 5 years. Like it's a
Yeah.
5 years age statement. And
Yeah.
my buddy Mick came into town and he was talking about like his episode was all like a Western theme.
Gotcha.
He's a big, John Wayne
So where's
fan.
Duke distilled?
This is distilled. Let me read it. It's Duke Spirits, made in the USA, bottled by Duke Spirits, Owensburg, Kentucky. So it's still a Kentucky
Nice.
product.
You got that limestone water.
Yeah, and let me see if I can see.
Is that their standard?
44% alcohol by volume, so it's an 88 proof. So it's a lower
Definitely,
proof.
yeah. We said proof negative.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
It is their standard.
Okay.
Yeah. Mick, when he was here, he talked about one that was maybe a single barrel and then like a John Cru or a Grand Cru.
Oh.
Hey, by the way, does bourbon have alcohol in it?
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay, good.
No, it's just
Zero.
spirits.
Okay.
It's just spirits. Speaking of Halloween.
Spirits for Halloween.
Spirits for Halloween. That's right.
Spirits materialize.
So now, if anybody wants to say anything more about Duke, otherwise,
Can you find that everywhere?
You can find Duke everywhere.
Okay.
At least in Wisconsin. I don't know if it is different
In other places.
in other
Okay.
states or not, but yeah, Duke you can.
Easily accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's around $35 to $40.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Smooth,
not
easy
terrible.
drink.
Very, very
Great price
approachable.
point.
Like
Yeah.
if you're coming into something, you want to try something that's not your standards, that'd be a good place to go.
Nice and mellow.
Yeah.
And thank you guys, because that is true. It's a 5-year age statement, which it's still resting for a long time, getting
Yes.
some oak. We're not picking up a ton of oak, but then again, we're tasting it next to things that might be longer or
Right.
or just different finishes where
Right.
it's like just it's
Yeah.
overshadowing
Right.
what this is doing.
That would be essentially going against Basil Hayden.
Correct.
You know.
So I at first said mid-proof for number 2, possibly proof plus. So I'm curious where we're going here.
Well, let's see what is going on here. So glass 2.
No way.
Way. That surprises me.
Yes.
That tastes nothing like what it does now that it did last
To be
episode.
fair, we've done 2 episodes today.
Even
and
so, just because of what we put it next to it did differently.
This one ran away with the last episode.
It did. It was ridiculously good.
Blew everything out of the park.
Yes,
and now
it
it's
did.
like,
But it was still good, to be fair.
Oh, no.
it was
2
so
and 3
good.
was really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that this is actually number 2.
Me too.
I'm very surprised.
Because we just
Yes.
spoke about how we were going to buy it because we
Yes.
loved
I'm still going to buy it.
I would think you should, because, I mean,
100%.
it was delicious. And it lost out to 3. That's crazy.
Although one of these two, I know which.
now I don't know what
At least I
3
know
is.
what one of these two is, right? And I get why it beat it.
True.
And I'm sure it's probably the same one you're thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a 6-year,
Yeah.
which all of their like blends, because this is a widely blended option. Like
Yes.
they took 6-year. Well, I'll just go over it real quick. They took like a 6-year high malt. They took a 6-year rye, and then they took a 6-year wheat, and then they finish it in secondary aged options of all like wine
Okay.
kind of barrels.
So if you look at your notes from this episode versus last episode, you had a lot more to say about it last episode.
It did.
you not?
Absolutely, it's still delicious.
It's wild.
Well,
It
that's,
is.
That's like.
I'm thinking it's going against a 10-year though. That's why I'm saying the 6-year statement, because I'm saying these are 6-year options.
So really, we know what but these are, but we don't know which one's which.
Correct.
Which is actually more upsetting.
So we'll let Becca know. I mean, we have a Heaven's Door 10-year going now
The
against
Peerless Double Oak Rye.
Double Oak Rye. Yeah, the cigar cut Old Elk. You guys had mentioned earlier that you guys were gonna maybe pick that up.
Definitely are.
I would.
yeah.
It's delicious, and not to say that it won out against these 2 options,
Right.
But Becca, you were saying that you were having a hard time deciding between them.
Between 2 and 3, they were both really good picks. But I still had more to say about it in the previous episode than I did this time, just because it was put up against all these other excellent
Because it's the winners of winners.
winners of winners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make it more difficult.
It does.
It does. Things stand out, you know?
It does. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Well, because-
It's harder to stand out when you're
yes.
amongst winners.
Well,
Yes.
a lot of times we do try to do like themes ish, whether
True.
it's like price point or region or finishes or
All from the
distilleries
same
or
distillery.
whatever.
Yeah, yep.
And then all of a sudden you get, now it's like, okay, none of these things are the same thing.
No, they're
It is all different.
Right. They all have basic ingredients, but they're not the same thing. So
Yeah.
like, that's why these are always so much fun.
They truly are. So now we are going to decide between
1 and 3.
3 and find out what's going to walk away with this. So we already know. I mean, we're not going to shy away from our knowledge of what we're up against.
I mean, one of them is a Peerless product.
One is a
the
Peerless.
other one is a 10-year-old product.
Heaven's
Yes.
product.
Which, yeah, they
Oh,
both
shucks.
they
Like,
both bring
damn.
fantastic things to the table. Like the Peerless is not 10-year-old.
No,
And
but
the Heaven's
Peerless-
Door is not like a double oak.
Yes.
So it's like you got 2 different options here.
Right.
Which is a fantastic dilemma to be in for us.
Isn't it? Oh, that sucks so much.
Like, yeah.
It does make decisions. Like,
Sign me up, please.
I know. Having a platform to where you can like discuss it with people who also enjoy things is super cool. Like we all do that not on here. You know what I
That's
mean?
very true.
Like I've called you how many times
Yeah.
to ask you like, dude, have you had this one? Have you heard anything about it? You
Right.
know, stuff like that. And like she'll text me like, babe, I'm looking at this. Should I pick it up? And it's like, yeah, why not? Like, let's give it a try. And I have a bunch of other friends that I talk to about it too. And it's like, being able to share with you guys like is like a thing that's pretty cool. You
That's
know?
a
And
fantastic point. The camaraderie of passion.
Right.
I'll call it just the camaraderie of passion.
Yeah.
You know, it's a thing. It's like I'm with people that actually love this experience in you two, and hopefully the
And
people that
whether
are
they do it with
watching.
you or without you, you
Yeah.
still have that camaraderie to talk about and be
Yes.
like, hey, what'd you think of this? Is it worth it?
Right.
You know, what if I find it for X amount of dollars? Should I still buy it? Yes,
Right.
no. Like it's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right with that.
Well, and that's, you know, like even like looking at like the videos and everything, trying to look at some of the comments, like comments are great. You know, like the more we can get, the better we can, you know, steer stuff or look at stuff or, you know, have conversations with people about it. It's whiskey should be something you talk about people with, you know?
I agree. In fact, after the Peerless episode, which is one of these, we don't know which one exactly yet, but I had someone talk about, oh, wow, I need to like look this thing up. You
Yeah.
guys did a great job explaining what this is about. And they were like, I want to buy this Peerless like double oak rye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it took me a little while to get back to them. I work also another job, so it's like I'm not always on top of it. But it's like I love that people are partaking in this experience with us.
It makes it more interactive.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
It's more of a group thing.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. We'll make it cater to people's input too. Like me just mentioning that someone commented, like, thank you for commenting. Right. I appreciate it. We all do, and keep it going. You know? So I love that.
If someone's like, dude, like this is like my favorite thing on the whole planet, like shoot in the comments so we can put it on
talk about it. Exactly. We'll talk about your name. We'll talk about you and what your thoughts are on things, and you can be part of this whole process, which we love.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to 1. It's a Duke beater.
I've gone back and forth like 3 times.
Well, the only thing that could beat John Wayne would be Chuck Norris. So I remember seeing that one.
Well, it's either Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that'd be about it. Because was it? Oh yeah, Bruce did beat Chuck in the Enter the Dragon.
Yes, he did.
Was that it? Yeah.
Yep. It's tough to beat Bruce Lee.
It is tough to beat Bruce Lee.
I don't think he made any bourbon, but neither did Chuck.
No.
So, the two of you mentioning what is left, I have no clue because they're both smooth and they're both sweet. So, it could be a 10-year or a rye. Like
I think the Peerless was at least 7.
I don't know if there was an age statement on it.
You know what? Google
No,
No,
we're not doing that.
I agree.
We're going based on flavor.
love the fact that you weren't part of this as far as the other two, and you're coming across it as completely blind and not really giving a crap of which one is which.
No, but it's kind of fun to be like, which one is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm super curious too to hear what you say. What's going to beat a 10-year or what's going to beat a double oak, you know?
Double oak dry.
Exactly. So I'm going to just try
but
to...
neither one of those has that punch you in the face rye flavor. They're both very easy drinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the proof is there. It's enjoyable. It's great.
So on a quick search, they said it's at least 4 years on the Peerless.
Okay.
They didn't specify.
I would think so because that typically is a bourbon thing, although this one's a rye. But typically, if it doesn't mention it on the label, it's got to be 4 years.
Yeah.
Which I mention all the time.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know.
I do have a winner. But I'm going to go first.
No, you're going first. No, should we make Ty go first?
I can go first.
Should make Ty
it's
go
your
first.
turn to go first.
Yeah. I can go first. And I'm actually still kind of going back and forth. That's how close these are. Like, it's like, do I like the 10-year? Do I like the high double oak? Do I like the, you know what I mean?
But on the same token, I don't know which is which.
I don't either. I think I know, but I don't
But you know
care
what?
if I'm right.
That's got us into a corner in the past.
It has. And I don't care if I'm right, though.
No.
That's the thing. It's like I'm doing it based on what I like more.
Correct.
So it's like I'm trying to take the bias out of it anyway.
Correct.
So it's like, okay, which one do I like? And I'm going to do just a live tasting right now. I'm going to taste number 3. And the instant notes I'm going to bring out are definitely some sweets, some sweet flavors. I am getting some age on it too, though, where it's got some oak on it and very smooth. Like there's no harsh levels on it at all.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go back to 1.
They're both very impressive.
They are.
And 1, I would say it's a little more spicy. It's a little more wow, like on your mouth feel.
Right.
And I mean, again, even though I'm not trying to be biased, I'm going to be biased just because I'm a more seasoned bourbon drinker anyway. So it's like, I'll take my years of bourbon drinking into play and say, I will go for 1.
Okay.
Because it's stronger for me, which I like.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to put her in a bad spot and make her pick the tiebreaker because
I already have a winner.
I am
so
I'm gonna take number 3.
Okay.
I just think the oaky flavor I'm getting off of it and everything, the sweetness and stuff, it feels more indicative to like a little bit more of an age statement piece.
I think you're right.
So like I'm kind of going into those things, and I've said it a million times on here that I like the oaky, charry flavors, the big leather bombs, like all that stuff, and like that's why I'm gonna go with number 3.
And I welcome the idea of being wrong, but I truly believe that this is my high rye number 1.
Oh.
It's that nice, spicy, zesty.
Yeah.
Absolute. I pick 1, whether it's the rye or the Heaven's Door. I'm okay with it. It's good.
It's so funny that you guys keep mentioning zesty because I think and I can be proven wrong. However, when we were tasting the Peerless episode,
Yes.
zesty was a predominant
Phrase.
phrase of that episode.
Of that
and
brand?
Of that and
That distillery?
of what we were tasting.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. So we're going to bring these out and see if we're right or wrong. All right, we're back, and we're going to talk about what number 3 was. And number 3 was
Hey.
10-year. So we're getting pretty acclimated to some of these different tasting profiles, which is kind of neat. Becca, you weren't here for these tastings.
No, I didn't
And
try
so
either of those.
for you, it was a straight, like, organic
Blind.
decision of what you're picking.
Yeah.
You know, which I love that. And I also don't want to go back on things.
Yeah.
Or at least be organic on it, you know,
Yeah.
and whatever I taste. But we were right, though. The 10-year, that's delicious. That beat out
It
the
is good.
Old Elk.
It did.
And Old Elk on the previous episode
Crushed it.
Crushed everything. Like, easily.
Yeah.
Like, we were, like, saying, yeah, they were all good, and they were.
They were all good.
However, it was easy decision.
Well, so like on the other episode that Old Elk was on, right? This was definitely the biggest flavor bomb
It was.
we had on that episode.
That's a
right?
very good point.
And then
Yeah.
we get to the Heaven's Door one, and this was the biggest flavor bomb on that episode.
You're right.
Right?
Between the two of them,
So
yeah.
like we're starting to, like you said, it's the winners of winners. You're really comparing like which ones of this month or week had the most flavor, and it was like, okay, like what do we find interesting? You know?
Yeah. I think out of all the monthly winner episodes, this has been the most polarizing.
I would agree.
Like, it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
How did this win? And then this one win, and this one really won.
That's what makes these so exciting.
it is.
It does.
Right.
Like the last time I was this like surprised, and I think it was when Billy kept winning.
Yes.
And Billy kept winning, and then Billy kept winning.
Yeah.
And then it was like, Billy.
Anyone watching, if you want to try any of these 4 bourbons, you're not going to go wrong.
Yeah.
I agree.
Essentially.
I agree.
Any of these 4, they're worth your time.
For the most part, I would say our monthly winner episodes, like,
It's
you
a good place to start.
You could buy any one of the 4.
The lady says,
Whoa!
Peerless Double Oak Rye.
Again, this is probably the most expensive option
It
out
is.
of all of these.
It is the most
This
expensive.
it is
option.
it is double the price.
Yeah.
It's
Of some of
basically double the price of all of these. This is a $120 bottle.
It's that much more exciting when you pay the money that you're like, this is worth it.
Right. Now, I'm not saying that like everyone who's like drinking whiskey or drinking bourbon or whatever, it's not always worth that price to everybody.
I agree.
Right. But
Yep.
when you're like, can have a flight of different whiskeys and you can have a lot of premium different stuff, like you're getting into the Peerless section, that's getting into the premium whiskey.
It is.
Right. Like Old Elk, right? That's like a general, like you can find it everywhere. It's really accessible.
The basic.
The
Old
basic
Elk.
one.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
I think Old Elk is actually between
okay.
the everyday and the high. Like, I think this is like
It's a good stepping stone.
Yes.
Actually, that would make sense, right? Because
It is
a
like, in
good
price
stepping
range,
stone.
we're looking at. Can I have that one? We're literally looking at this in price range,
We are.
and then that's
Yes,
kind
we are.
of that's
Yes,
kind of
we
how
are.
it all kind of figures out, right?
The cheapest we said was probably the Duke, and the second cheapest was probably the 10-year
Heaven's Door.
Heaven's Door, and then it went to the Old Elk cigar cut, and then the most expensive in this monthly winner was the Peerless Double Oak Rye.
Yeah.
And it tasted like it, though.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's got that more refinement. It's got a little bit more on point. Like there's a little more direction.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't always end up that way. You know, like there's some brands and some stuff that just is like more expensive for no reason. But like these ones, when you compare them this way we do them, like it really makes a difference. You can see like, oh, why this is more available or why this is more expensive or whatever. You just got to find the spot that you're like, dude, I am really comfortable right here. Like this hits all the buttons I need. This hits like everything possible. Like I can drink it neat. I can drink it with a cocktail. I can drink it with a Coke and I don't feel bad. Like you find out what you like.
Well, this is the winner of this monthly tasting,
It's
and
the Peerless Double Oak Rye.
it's a Peerless Double Oak Rye. So thank you so much for watching. We enjoy showing you our favorites, and we hope you agree. We think you will. So make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next episode.
Bye.